Hi, it's Ben from My Cycling Coach. I hope you're well and that you're having a great day. Back for tip number 2 then of this week's video series to help you get off that fitness plateau that you might be currently experiencing and start making gains with your performance and fitness as part of your weekly riding. Earlier on this week, we spoke about tip number 1 and how just adjusting some of the duration and intensity of some of your rides and how many rides you are doing in the week can really help you start to make that progress. We spoke maybe you've got stuck into the routine of just doing one all-out blast at the weekend, really fatiguing yourself through that ride, which is then preventing you from getting any other sort of quality riding in during your week. Tip number 2 today then is I really wanted to speak to you about fueling. I can see a lot of cyclists really have insufficient fueling as part of their riding they're doing, and this can have a real detrimental effect on both performance and recovery. So what I tend to find is riders will explain to me that they'll go out riding, maybe not take as much fluid on or fuel on as they should be during the ride, and as a result they'll get sort of to the latter stages of that ride, really feel low in energy, like they can't sustain any decent amount of power or speed of part of that ride, and in some cases they actually end up not being able to complete that planned ride, which is obviously very frustrating. Along with this, that sort of fueling and insufficient fueling can obviously have that detrimental effect on performance, but it can also really slow down your recovery time between rides as well. So if you're on the bike and you're not taking on enough fuel, you will be doing more damage to the muscle than you are doing already through training. And this will then mean that you're not getting the benefits from that training ride or the adaptations as well that we really are after as part of riding our bikes and training and trying to improve fitness and performance. So dialing in on your fueling and making these adjustments. I'm going to give you a few amounts today that I really want you to try, because if you're not already having these amounts, just by increasing how much you're eating and drinking on the bike alone will have a huge difference, or make a huge difference to both your performance, but then your recovery and how you feel with your riding, or just generally day to day as you're going through your week. So we're going to start with pre-ride fueling. Before any ride, 1 to 3 hours before, I'm just going to give some real guidelines here, nothing too specific, but 1 to 3 hours before starting any ride, you really want to be trying to have between 1 to 3 grams of carbohydrate per kilo of body weight. Now, the exact amount within that range will depend on the duration and intensity of your ride. Obviously, if it's a 1 hour ride, you'll be okay with maybe closer to 1 gram of carbs. If it's going to be a longer ride, maybe up to 3 hours and beyond, then you probably want to be closer to that sort of 3 grams of carbohydrate per kilo of body weight to fuel for the ride you're going to do. Now, during this pre-ride meal, you really want to focus on the more complex carbohydrates as well. So these are often referred to as the more starchy based carbs. So pasta, potatoes, rice, wholemeal breads, oats and things like that. Just some examples there that are really good sources of complex carbohydrate, which are going to allow you to top up that muscle and liver glycogen, which is absolutely crucial pre-ride to ensure that you have got enough energy going into the ride itself. So that's pre-ride there. Going into during the ride then, and this is where I find a lot of sort of most common mistakes are with people maybe just taking out one water bottle, taking out a bottle without any maybe carbohydrate mix in, or not having a bar or an energy gel, or maybe just having one on a maybe 100-mile ride. This is where you can really start to feel that drop in energy and not being able to produce any power. So just some amounts again, ballpark amounts here. Really every hour as part of your ride, you want to be trying to have 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrate every hour of the ride, and combining this with at least 500 milliliters of fluid. These are absolutely basic amounts for you to be able to sustain performance on the bike and energy levels. And if you haven't been having those amounts, you might be watching now and thinking, no, I haven't been having that. This is why you are experiencing that real drop in energy towards the end of your ride. So 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrate. You can achieve this however works best for you, or the sources that work best for you. Might be carbohydrate mix in your bottle, energy bar, energy gels, homemade granola, flapjacks, all of those, just some examples there that will help you achieve that 40 to 60 grams. Obviously water is great in terms of fluid, and you may mix this with a carbohydrate or an electrolyte mix that I've mentioned there as well. So that's during ride. Post-ride then, this is where we really want to switch to that recovery. You would have done some damage to the muscle. You know, even if you were fueling correctly during the ride, the body will be in what we call that slightly sort of negative protein balance. So it is really important that we bring it back into that neutral protein balance, get some good sources of protein in. So within 30 minutes of getting off the bike, I would recommend that you have 25 to 30 grams of good quality protein. Obviously the easiest way to achieve this is through something like a protein shake, whey protein shake, or a recovery shake. There are obviously other things out there like smoothies or just other foods in it, and protein bars that you can also have. But it's really important you try and take that in 30 minutes of getting off the bike, so you can straight away support the body in that recovery process, allow that muscle to start repairing itself straight away. As part of your post-ride then, I would recommend that you sort of follow up with a meal that consists of, you know, a good, well-balanced mix of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and micronutrients as well, again, just to support that recovery process and refuel after your ride. As I say, just making some of those tweaks, if you haven't been doing that already, you will notice a huge difference in your performance on the bike, your recovery time between rides, and just how you are feeling as you go through your week. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please drop a like on the video as always. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can receive our most recent content, and any comments as always, would love to hear from you. Be sure to watch out for tip number 3, which will be coming later this week as well. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy your riding.